Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Sapiens Playground, and I'm very glad to have my next guest on, which is Ruslan Saibov. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, what's good, fam?
Yeah, how are you doing, man?
Thanks for inviting me. It means a lot that someone wants to talk to me and stuff like this.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
great.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
That's super nice to hear. Thank you, really. Thank you for taking some time to coming onto the show. Maybe at first, I think many of my listeners and of my followers know you already because most of my followers are quite familiar with calisthenics athletes and people from this space. But still, for people who don't know you, which would be very strange to me, but still, tell us maybe very shortly your full name, your age, and also two things, which is your favorite food and your favorite kind of exercise.
All right, so my name is Ruslan. My surname, my last name is Saibov. A lot of people think that my name is Saibov, but it's my last name, but at the meantime is my nicknames. So, Saibov
Right.
is my surname. So yeah, well, I'm not only the strength and endurance athlete. I'm trying to be all around complete and stuff like this, but mainly my focus is, for it's based on strength and endurance.
Right.
So yeah, I'm trying my best to be the best. I've been in the game for almost 12 years now. Yeah, I have been maintaining my top level, high class level. I'm not going to be modest here because it's obvious.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to keep the level. My favorite exercise would be push up, even though a lot of people would be confused
Right.
because I'm like the muscle up guy.
Yeah, yeah.
People
We'll be talking
sometimes
about push-ups. We'll be talking about that.
some people, they be like, well, Ruslan Saibov is like the synonym for muscle up because like every set I do, there is a muscle up in it. But push-ups are my favorite exercise. Is push-up is my favorite exercise because you can do it freaking everywhere, bro. There is no
Absolutely.
limits. You've got the ground everywhere.
And your body,
We
right?
don't have the bar everywhere. Yeah. So, my favorite food, bro, is the hard one. I know a lot of people are gonna be mad at me because I'm not gonna say pizza, pasta, or tacos
It
or
doesn't have to be.
burritos, but yeah, I would say I would go with my mother's pelmeni.
Pelmeni is
You
the best.
know, yeah,
It's the best.
Russian, Ukrainian, all
Absolutely.
the Eastern countries, we have this kind of food. Even for some people from the West, they say like many are not that good because they don't have this specific, spicy taste like for example in Cali do. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So, but for us, it's like something from our childhood, something our parents used to, bring to the table, and we were glad to eat it, right? So it's kind of the nostalgia, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I
yeah,
get you.
it is in my heart. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I like trying food all over the place. So there are no limits for me, unless there are bugs on my plate, like
Okay, so eating insects
Korea. I don't
is
know.
not for you.
Yeah. Not
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
not for me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, cool thing. Yeah, you've mentioned that you're in the game for 12 years, right? So
Yeah,
let's maybe talk about that real quick. What's your age right now?
I'm about to turn 26 in November.
Okay, so you're gonna turn 26. So you started 12 years ago in your teens, basically. And
Yeah,
let's maybe, I think you've told that story already several times, and many people are familiar with that story. I've heard you talking about that on the Gore Nation podcast. So, but still, it's still super fascinating. And maybe tell us a bit more about how did you start your calisthenics journey, and what did you do before, and how was it that how did you go from not being able to perform a pull-up to being a world-class athlete, because that's ridiculous.
Well, before trying to complete my first pull-up, I used to be a football player. I usually say I used to be a pro player, but it's not like pro, but it was like a huge part of my life. You know what I mean? So I had trainings in the morning, then games afternoon, and then the second training in the evening. Like it was a huge part of my life, you know? So um after turning the age of 14, I think I started playing Counter-Strike, and it got me lazy as shit. It got me late, bro. It was extremely like time consuming. I spent I used to spend like 10 hours a day playing computer games in like a year. So I've got like super off sport guy for 1 year. And then after this period of life I'm trying to forget, um me and my friends, we were, just like a group of people hanging around, every single day in the evening. We just go places, right? And one single night, it was the park, the stadium of my school, right? So we went to the park, and there were bars, and some of my friends, one of my friends, he just randomly, named the thing, let's do a letter. I was like, what is letter? Like, what is
Right.
letter? He said, letter of pull-ups. I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. And I don't know, there were like, I don't even know how many of us exactly there were, but like 10 people, let's say. And out of 10 people, I was the only one who couldn't complete a single rep.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
it got me in feelings, I would say. So it hurt my ego. A guy at this age, I was 14 or 15, something like this. At this age, you are really dependent on opinions, right? So people really be talking shit, and they really get to your head. So of course my friends, they were like, yo, you cannot do the pull-up, like what's wrong with you,
They were
man? Like
laughing about you,
everybody,
right?
yeah, like everybody can do this. So I was like, all right. I was so dedicated to start the training, but I was so embarrassed that I wasn't able to complete a single rep. So what I was doing every single evening, late evening, so it was dark, I used to come to the park with the bars, and I was just trying to complete this single pull-up. There were no tutorials, there were no coaches, at least the coaches I could afford, because I had no money, right? So I was like just hanging and trying to pull up. This is it. Like this was the whole system of mine, the whole training system of mine. Of course, I was able to complete some dips and some push-ups, which helped me to build up, right? To build up strength to eventually complete the pull-up and so on. But yeah,
Basically, it was doing
like,
attempts, right?
yeah, just attempts, man.
Oh, that's
No
crazy.
foundation, no
Mm.
scapular work, no core work. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
completely nothing.
What like everyone is
And
talking about nowadays. People being like,
yeah,
yeah, you need train
everybody
your
is
scapula
smart.
and stuff and core
Yeah,
strength and this and
everybody
that.
is smart now. Everybody is smart. So they be like, you gotta, this and
Yeah.
that, and the grip gotta be different. I knew shit back then. I knew nothing. And this is why it took me 3 months.
Yeah.
Nowadays, when I coach someone, they sometimes people are able to complete a single rep in like, let's say 3 weeks,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
1 month. But back then, bro, 3 months of consistent attempting late night, right? And then after I did my first, I was like, all right, I like this feeling. You know what I mean? So I was like so satisfied about myself that all this hard work paid off. And I was like, all right, let me get more. And since then, I never stopped.
That's good. That's crazy.
Every single time I achieve something, it only, it boosts me. It paces me. So I want more. I want more. Yeah. There is no, there is no limits. It might sound, banal and simple, and everybody be saying this nowadays. Like, you gotta work hard, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta stop overthinking, you gotta stop laying in bed. But this is the freaking truth.
Yeah.
Like, once you get on this track of success, you really keep rolling with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
No chance. There is no chance you are gonna, you're gonna back off once you achieve something. Like, it is a constant wheel, and it only speeds up every time.
I totally agree. Yeah, that's totally right. And many people still keep asking things like how like many people also ask me like, how do I still stay motivated and go in my training every day and do things. And these people are mostly those people who have never trained in their life. And I'd be like, okay, it's just exactly what you just said. You need to start, and then you get this feeling of how you progress and get better. And then all the additional benefits you get from training anyways. And, endorphins and stuff flushing into your brain, making you happy. That's a whole nother topic, but it's still another benefit. And then you just stay with it. You don't really need, probably, tell us, do you need motivation to get up and go training? Or what is it in your life? What keeps you kind of getting up and training and doing these things?
Well, motivation, there's a quote. I like it so much. Dedication will take you places that motivation won't.
Yeah.
So this is 100% true. I agree with it with my whole heart and my whole soul. So motivation is something, you can watch the video on YouTube of someone saying someone was knocking the roof. I don't know what.
It's okay.
Motivation from such video on YouTube where someone's saying like, get up and do shit.
Yeah.
it can make you get up and do something, but after a while, this video won't motivate you so much. You know what I mean? You will keep watching it and like, all right, it doesn't really make me do.
It's not a long-term solution, right?
Yeah. Dedication, it's not something you learn. It's something that comes to your life. You know what I mean? So a lot of people be asking, how do I stay dedicated? Because, motivation will take you to, one day of training, but dedication will set you off for the long-term goal, right? So a lot of people will be asking, how do I get dedicated to something? You got to answer a few questions and like, just ask yourself. A lot of people don't really talk to themselves. As crazy as it sounds, but you really gotta get into yourself and talk to yourself to find out what you really want. So the questions are, do you really want this?
Yeah.
If not, what do you want? What made you think that you kind of want it? You know what I mean? Why are you even sitting here and talking to yourself and trying to figure this out? There is a cause. There is a why behind it. So you got to figure it out, because if you will just, if you will keep trying to get this motivation, dedication, and everything from outside, it will stay outside. You got to reach yourself with your own, with your own self. As crazy as
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sounds.
absolutely.
So, once you answer a few questions about what you really want and how you want it, how bad do you want it, then you start to realize what are the measures to actually achieve this, right? Because we're human beings, we are built this way that if we want something, we'll just get it. Like, let's say a guy, right? Like a guy likes a girl, right? He will do freaking everything to get her attention.
Yeah.
No matter if he's younger, if she's younger, if she, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what level you are at in your life at this particular moment. Everybody has his own, resources to work with. Not everyone born rich, poor, and stuff, right? We at the certain point of our lives, we have specific resources, specific time that we can devote to achieving something, right? So, and of course, you got to make sacrifices,
Sure.
right? Because a lot of people be saying that, well, I work 16 hours shifts every day, and then I gotta do this and that, and I cannot really make up time for training. All right, give up watching movies, give up watching those TV shows, give up, give up one meal a day to actually work out. This is what I did. People usually say, all right, you've got it easy, you've got lucky to achieve something and go for I've been there. I used to work 16-hour shifts when I moved to Poland. From Ukraine. I'm originally from Ukraine, if the guys don't know who are listening to it. So I moved to Poland without specific papers. I didn't have a job, I didn't have a language, so I had to work somewhere, and I worked at the warehouse, and then I worked as a security guard for 16 hours shifts and night shifts as well. And I made some sacrifices. Instead of eating clean enough, of course, and sleeping enough, I was working out instead of this. So those 2 hours of sleep were gone for training.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is that dedication starts within you and how you respond to what you really want. And then after you really decide to go after something, you gotta really count with those sacrifices, and it's not gonna be easy. Like a lot of people, really smart, intelligent people, they really think it's still going to be easy if they have it figured out. If someone did it already, why cannot I? But it doesn't mean it's gonna be super easy and so light. So I hope I answered the question again.
Yeah, man, this was super valuable. A lot to unpack here. Let's real quick. The thing, it starts with asking yourself questions. I think I want to drive this point home because this is so crucial for people to hear, because many just be like, oh, he's doing cool things. I was like that at the beginning of my calisthenics journey. I started by watching a YouTube video, and it probably Frank Medrano, right? This super lean, strong guy. I think so many people got inspired by him. And I was watching just a video, and I was like 12 or 13 years old. I was like, oh, cool. And my first reaction was like, I want to be like him. That's the point. Many people just want to copy someone, don't really ask themselves what their personal goals and wishes and things are. And so I think that's so crucial in order to stay dedicated and stick with your goals and eventually achieve them. Is really, you need to ask yourself, are you willing to put in the work in order to achieve the things that this particular person, which you got inspired by, has achieved? And I think this is a super hard question, because many people just think, yeah, I want to be like him, and they forget actually that it often is a very hard path, as you just explained. It's not going to be easier,
because
even if you
it's
figured it out.
easier.
Yeah, it's not going to be easier. It's still going to be super hard. You just get stronger, right? I like this is another quote.
Right.
It doesn't get easier, you just get stronger.
Right. That's a good one.
Yeah,
A lot of people, copying someone is easier than actually becoming someone, like becoming a better version of yourself. A lot of people say, Saba, I want to be like you.
Right.
And my response is always, bro, you can be better than me.
Yeah.
Be the best you can be. Don't be me.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I'm not even talking about myself. Let's say Messi or Ronaldo from football, right? A lot of people be like, I want to be like Ronaldo. Like, okay, do you want to be like Ronaldo, or you just want to be capable of doing what he does?
Yeah.
Right, because these are different things, and people really mess up the terms, the terminology. You know what I mean? Like, what you're saying, you manifest it with your energy, right? Because if you say like, I want to be able to do what he does and even better, you will. Of course, you're not gonna sit on a couch and just wait until
you need to put in the work. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta. But saying stuff, you gotta be careful what you're saying. Like, really,
I think,
you got
definitely, because people, if you keep saying that you want to be like someone, I just want to make this clear. What you're saying is that you need to distinguish between I want to be able to do the things, to be able to do the skills, or to have the skills someone else has, or if you say I want to be like this person, it's just being a copy of that person. I think this can be very harmful for people, because in this situation you could potentially sort of lose yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying not not fulfilling yourself, not living your life, but trying just to copy the life of someone else. And this can be devastating over the long term if you just forget about who you actually are and your own preferences. Maybe that this can be very harmful.
Right. Exactly. Instead of actually trying to understand what made them stronger and capable of doing things like this, they just try to copy what they do. You know what I mean? So people don't really try to understand the behind of their presentation on social media and stuff like this, because they all did something at a certain point. There's a certain workout, they read a certain book, and you cannot repeat the same steps, because you are different. You have a different length.
Yeah,
you have a different size of your palm. You have a different height, weight, and so on. You cannot,
the genetic makeup, right?
Yeah, you cannot really copy stuff because you are different.
Yeah,
but you can learn what they did. You can analyze it. You can take it and see what's best for you, test it, and so on. You cannot repeat it. You cannot just go to my Instagram and ask me questions. How long did it take you to achieve one arm pull-up or one muscle up?
So many do that, yeah.
And they try, they are looking for the answer, but there is no answer for this, because I did my first muscle up in like 6 months of specific training for the muscle up. Some people achieve it in like 1 week.
Some people don't even train for that.
Exactly. They just come up to the park and they
do a muscle up,
they're above the bar. You cannot put time frames into your workout journey, because if you will, look at me, for example. Let's say if I did my muscle up in 1 month. So then you start to think like, all right, I had 1 month. And if you don't achieve the muscle up in 1 month, then you start to overthink, maybe it's not for me. damn, I'm so weak.
Yeah.
I gotta stop. I
And then
don't
you
have the
stop.
motivation to do this.
Yeah.
And this is how most of the people, they stop because they ask wrong questions.
Right.
They ask wrong questions. How long is gonna take me to do this and that?
Hmm.
A lot of people be asking how much money you make. What does it change in your life?
Exactly. Yeah.
When asking, all right, I'm so curious how much he makes. I'm so curious how much he spent last weekend so I can count how much he makes. What does it really,
It doesn't
how
change
much,
anything actually.
yeah,
Doesn't
how
make
does
a
it
difference.
affect? How does it
Yeah.
affect your life? Focus.
Yeah.
Focus on specific things that change your life. Don't focus on things that change nothing in their life and your life. You know, a lot of people be really wasting time and their energy. So yeah, I could speak about it like, you know, for the whole day
Absolutely.
or even few days, because this is the topic that it never ends, you know, and as
I
many
think
people.
there's also a topic which there's not many people talking about. I think there's so much information about the training itself. So you could learn a lot about training and training techniques. I think we can talk a little bit about that, but I think this topic, what we're talking about right now, I think this is so valuable because you find so much about nutrition, about training, about sleep, and everybody knows what's good, what's bad. You have thousands of tips, but
Yeah,
this um this this aspect of um which also accounts for, which also is very important for training and for life in general, which is this mental aspect. I think this is overseen by many people, and they kind of um yeah, many people just have this. They go, they train, they're good, but so many people struggle. They start, they stop, they find another role model, someone to follow. They follow them for a while, they stop again, they get motivation, they lose motivation, and so on and so forth. And they get upset and they think they're worthless and they cannot achieve anything.
yeah,
That's kind of my problem when you see these transformation videos, If you be like, achieved planche in 3 months. There was like a transformation video about achieving planche in 3 months. I watched that and I don't know if it's true, but if that's true, this is crazy because people are gonna watch that and be like, holy shit, I'm 1 year in and I can barely hold a tuck planche and they think they're bad or weak or something because
yeah,
someone else was faster. And they just don't get that maybe it's maybe it's maybe they don't even enjoy the process. Then they should stop training
yeah.
planche to do something else.
Right. You're absolutely right, bro.
And that's difficult. That's difficult for people. And did you let's come to another question, which would be on your way on your calisthenics journey, have there been any bigger changes in your kind of training, or did you understand from the beginning that this is the thing you want to do for the rest of your life in terms of exercising and training? Because I had in my life, I was like playing soccer, I was doing basketball, I was swimming, I was running, I was doing everything. I was doing tennis for so long, and I realized, yeah, this is cool, this is fun, but it's not something which I would like to stick to forever. And then I started calisthenics. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And now I still don't think that I'm gonna stop. And so, how was it in your life? Did you like had these thoughts, or were you dedicated and just never had a period where you changed things up?
I cannot really tell you the exact, time
Mm,
when I thought about it for the first time. But I definitely thought about it at a certain point, of course, in the beginning, like maybe in 1 year or two, maybe three after I started. And I was like so sure that I eventually I eventually am going to, succeed with some bigger goal. I mean, it's hard to explain, bro.
mm,
Like at the time, I didn't really know. I didn't think about making money on this sport.
sure.
living off this sport because this is what I do now. This is what I do. One of not too many in calisthenics, actually.
Yes,
And
maybe talk real quick about that. What exactly? Because I think that's interesting for many people. Many probably have asked you, "What's your job? What you're doing?" Maybe just clarify that. Maybe people don't
well,
understand it.
my full-time job is being coach,
Right.
being a coach. I have never invested in any in any cryptocurrency, any those stokes, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I make money only from calisthenics because a lot of people be thinking, all right, he moved to Tenerife and all right, he's probably, getting some money from
From
some
Bitcoin, right?
investments. Yeah, on Bitcoin or stuff like this. No, I have never done it from all calisthenics. So yeah, I'm a full-time online coach right now. And a lot of people ask, how do I become an online coach? So there are many things to work on, you know what I mean? First is actually your knowledge. Your knowledge should be on point, right? And you cannot start off with online coaching. You just have to go through one-to-one real life coaching, the personal trainings and the group trainings as well. This is what I did. I haven't started with online coaching 6 years ago. This is the time that I have been doing coaching, 6 years until this day. So yes, 6 years. You gotta make sure that you start to build your, brand online. Brand today, I think everybody who's got, a bit of followers on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and so on, they eventually end up, doing some merch, opening their, calisthenics studios, for example, sport clubs, and so on. And they do this. They start their own business based on their, brand that they've built on their social media, right? So we gotta really set it up. We gotta set it up from the very beginning. You gotta be very so you gotta be this social media person, right? You gotta post stuff and just gotta make sure that you post valuable stuff, not just like, all right, this is me drinking water, or this is me, I've just shaved or something like this. People don't care about this, all right? Unless you're Cristiano Ronaldo or something like this, they really be caring if she shaved or something like this.
That's funny.
You gotta post valuable stuff. Then you gotta realize that working with people is something you gotta be flexible with, because you cannot use the same approach to the same person, because I've got people, from Germany, from Ukraine, from Singapore, from United States, and from Italy, for example. And each person has his own way of speaking, his own way of expressing. You know what I mean? Like different cultures, different backgrounds, races, religions. It really affects the conversation and the way the person speaks and tries to learn stuff.
But would you say it comes with experience, or is it something that you kind of, I think many people would ask themselves that, like, maybe would think it's not for me, I cannot speak with people, I'm shy and stuff. Do you think it's something that you have to be able to do at the beginning, or does it really come with experience after talking with people and working with them?
What you said is not for me, it's usually a saying from usually people who have never did anything for longer than 1 week. They usually say this.
So
They
true.
usually say, because they are actually what I said previously in the beginning. People don't really talk to themselves. Well, this is not for me. They are saying it out loud because they haven't talked to themselves first. So they are seeking for some kind of confirmation from the outside.
Mm.
You know, not maybe is not for me. The word maybe itself, you know, it kills everything already. Like maybe it is already, you're already done. Like,
Yeah.
stop talking about it. Come back to why you even, you know, thought about asking this question.
Right.
If you already put maybe in there. Or what if is not for me? How do you know if it's not for you? People spend 10, 20, 30 years in a marriage, for example, and then they decide, all right, maybe it's not for me. Maybe this person is not for me. You know what I mean? People, you know, play football all their childhood from like 6 years old to like 18. And then they turn 19 and they be like, all right, I don't really like it. How do you
I was
freaking
that
know?
I was that with tennis. I was playing tennis for 8 years, and then I was like, maybe I'm gonna change things up. So it takes some time. It's not like 1 week and then you realize that's not for me. I'm gonna stop doing
and
things.
everyone, right. And everyone has to get this something to be, you know, consistent with, like you in tennis, me in football, right? Someone can do, I don't know, singing and stuff like this for a certain period of time, longer than 1 or even 2 years, to be able to understand the, you know, pros and cons, in and outs of everything in this, to actually understand whether it's for you or no. And based on this experience, you can start to actually ask questions to yourself. And after you answer those questions yourself, you can ask people for knowledge, for their experience in the specific direction. So yeah, coming back to the topic, right? I'm not able to give you the time frame when I started to think about something bigger, but there was a time that I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to keep doing this for as long as I can. First, because I gave up on football, because I think I didn't mention it. I gave up on my football.
Yeah.
Right. When I started playing Counter-Strike, I was like, nah. I've got injured as well. My knee got hurt. I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit in this chair and I'm gonna click this mouse, right? I still regret it till this day. To this day, I regret it that I gave up, because you know, people say I am talented in calisthenics, but you guys, you haven't seen me playing football. You haven't seen me playing football. I'm like, bro, I really played well. So I gave up. And after this, I decided that I don't want to feel like this about anything in my life. Like this feeling of regret is just, it's devastating.
Yeah.
It destroys you from the inside. But and you cannot really let go, because you'll just keep it inside you, because
it's hard. It's very difficult.
There will always be, what if I kept going? What if I, you know, what if it went differently?
It's still these what if questions, thinking, you know, coming back in the past always and bringing your back into the past, which is difficult. You're right, and it's easier said than done. If you just say, stop thinking about the past, stop regretting things, that's impossible. We're all gonna keep regretting things. And just I think you learn. I think it's definitely, even though you regret what was happening, but you still learned from this time period for your future, and now you're behaving and you're doing things in a way so that something like like what was happening back then doesn't happen again, which is super valuable, I think, even though it was maybe not a good time period for you in your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man.
So you always
I've
can
got
find something
sad.
positive, right?
Yeah, actually I don't want to let go of this feeling, because this is something that keeps me going.
Right.
You know, because once I let go of this regret, I will realize, I mean, maybe subconsciously, I'll realize that I can let go the stuff I'm doing now.
It's okay, don't worry.
Someone is doing, I don't know, construction or stuff like this. Anyways, bro.
Yeah.
I apologize for this.
No problem.
You know, because if I let go of this regret, I won't have any kind of this feeling within me. So I will be able to let go of something else, like calisthenics. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and yeah, what you said about the coming back to the past, thinking about the future, a lot of people be saying, a lot of mentors be saying that you gotta live in this particular moment. You don't, as soon as you start to live in this moment, you let go of the past and you don't think about the future, because the only that matters is the present moment. But those people really forget that we live with the time frame. We, you know, we have birthdays, we have travels, we have everything. And if we let go everything, if we let go those, all right, I'm waiting for the rest day, all right, I'm waiting for the weekend, I'm waiting for this guy to come and meet me, I'm so excited. You know, if we let go of all this stuff, what is the joy of life? Because, you know, they keep saying it like, live in this moment. Okay.
Yeah.
But if I don't think about the future, because every decision I make today decide where I'm going to be in a few days, weeks, years. You know what I mean? We cannot let go of this. And the past, we keep coming back to the past because we need this experience. Experience is past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the hell people is talking about. We gotta come back to the past. If we don't come back to the past, we will keep repeating those mistakes.
That's so right. I think to make things clear, I think this is sometimes, or oftentimes maybe even, a valuable advice to people to come back more often into the present moment, because I think people are oftentimes too much, you know, I think so often I see people worrying about what could happen, and that's why they don't try out new things, or they keep remembering bad stuff from the past, and that's why they always fear of what could happen again, things could happen again in the future. And I think it is sometimes valuable to say, okay, you need to find time. I'm not saying always, because this is bullshit advice, as you just explained, but sometimes you need to find certain moments where you actually come back into the here and now and forget about shit. And you can do this with meditation, training, whatever. But I think this is so valuable what you just said about why it is important to come back to the past, because this is where all your mistakes lie, your experience lie, and where you can look into, maybe even in moments where you struggle, to see, okay, I've overcome this thing and now I can keep going. Or you can, you will not repeat all the mistakes when you go back into your past. And when it comes to the future, I mean, you're right. What's the joy of living if you don't think about what your bigger goals are, for example? So I think people should rethink this advice and don't take it too seriously, you know, like,
it's not so black and white here.
Absolutely,
it's not so, you know,
it's not like the present is good and the past is bad. Like, this is wrong, guys, please.
Yeah, there's no bad and good here, no black and white here.
No,
like,
never.
You just gotta be in this moment, but you shouldn't forget about what you experienced in the past and what you are willing to experience in the future, because today decides. So you gotta really focus on today, on your decisions that you're making.
Yeah.
Considering what you have experienced.
Yeah.
And what you're doing it for. Exactly. Yeah. I put it right way. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Maybe you should you sometimes need to bring up the different perspective, because I think on the one side, many people don't live in the present often enough, but they hear this advice: only live in the moment and come back to this moment and forget the past, forget the future. And I think
they
it's
be like
valuable.
getting drunk, doing drugs to the fullest, and they end up
I'm
like
living
like
my
this.
life in this moment.
Yeah,
you only live
I'm
once.
living
Blah,
my
blah.
life. I forgot about the past. I don't remember what's my name. I don't know what day it is. Yeah, tomorrow is what?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need to have, you need to keep this in mind. You're absolutely right. Now, talking about this, we just mentioned this briefly about having something you're doing it for, and I want to ask you this question, because I think I somewhat know the answer, but still, for people, I think it's going to be valuable. I think you need to find something in your life, something big, what you're doing things for, something which you think could positively impact people's life. Not something, kind of a goal, a life goal. You know what I mean? Kind of like something like a bigger mission, something bigger, not just I want to, I don't know, perform 10 muscle ups and become a I don't know, an engineer or something, but something bigger that you're striving for in your life.
Yeah.
What is it?
Like you said,
what is it in what is it in your life that you consider to be your bigger kind of mission that you're working towards?
Yeah, you named it properly, a mission.
Right.
And first it was just doing stuff. First it was like, all right, I want this muscle up, I want this pull up, I want to learn this and that, right? I was young, I was ambitious. I'm still ambitious, but when you are young, you just want to do stuff.
Yeah.
You just want to be able to do this and that, like crazy. And mission for me is actually having an impact on people and changing their lives, because
exactly that.
This is what I do, and this is what I'm thankful to myself, because there's no one to thank besides me. I mean, of course, I'm thankful to my biggest supporters, my family, right? My friends, even though they didn't always believe in me, but it's a different story. I'm grateful to myself, and this is something what a lot of people are not able to do.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Definitely.
It's not easy to be able to thank yourself. It might sound selfish. It might sound like I have a big ego, but to be able to thank yourself, it means that you have put in a lot of work. You know what I mean? And you realize it. And
you appreciate it, right?
As soon as you realize it, you start to appreciate yourself. This is something a lot of people don't do.
And I think this is one of the most crucial steps in order to be actually able to help others in general. I mean, you need, it's not just being selfish is like, I don't know, trying to show everyone off how great you are.
Yeah.
Maybe not even selfish, maybe more like being arrogant. See, I have this cool watch, I have the car, I have the house, I have this and that. But what you just said is not really, I mean, if this means being selfish, then it's a good thing. And it actually means believing in yourself. And only if you can do this, then you can actually help other people. If you want that, then you should definitely go and do and be selfish. Be selfish, only then you can help others,
Yeah, that actually makes sense. Be selfish so you can actually show the way to people, right? I'm not saying that I haven't been selfish during my journey, we all do stuff that is selfish in order to make ourselves happy and to succeed in some ways, because you gotta sacrifice. And
Yeah, sure.
sacrifices sometimes they may sound selfish to the people who surround us, right? I'm not going out today because I gotta, rest. I gotta study. I gotta work out. I'm not going out.
Yeah.
Right? The girl might think that you're just selfish. Your friends will just say, "All right, no, bro, come on, man,
I think we all have
come
this
on, man."
experience.
Yeah,
Those people who listen, who also have that, they know what we're talking about. If
yeah,
people be like, yeah, you're selfish, you're finding time for working out and caring about yourself, man.
yeah.
You don't
It's
go to a
about
party and
yeah,
getting drunk. You're a bad friend, you know?
yeah. So yeah, man, actually changing people's life is something I love to do. And I try my best to show people the way of getting there, especially my students, right? Because a lot of people who are on my online coaching, they don't just I don't just make them tired. You know what I mean? I don't
Right.
just put the program, I put them on the program and they just do stuff. I actually try to, help them to change the mindset.
Right.
I try to help them to, to learn how to understand themselves on my example based on it. Yeah, I'm just, physical abilities are, they come and go.
Sure.
Cool stuff comes and it goes, right? But behind all those fancy moves, all those records, all those reps, thousands, I don't know, maybe I've done millions of reps already, but it doesn't really matter if it doesn't, if your legacy is, if it's not in your legacy, because we all want us to be remembered at the end of the day.
Sure.
Someone wants to be just remembered within their family. Someone wants to be remembered within, a certain group of people. And someone like me, I just want to be remembered on the whole planet.
Right.
Right. In a good way. I want my family to remember me. I want my friends to remember me. I want people all around the world remember me. And it's not seeking for fame. It's not, I'm not trying to be famous. If I wanted to be famous, I would post stupid stuff because people love seeing stupid stuff. Yeah, pranks, dancing like crazy, even if you don't know how to, I could do this, but I'm not doing it. And I'm trying to actually help people. And eventually I know that eventually a lot of people will come to see how it's done and what you need to do to, to go there and here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So
based on my example.
Being remembered by as many people as possible by essentially impacting their lives and helping them to achieve their goals. I think that's a great mission, if you will. And I think this is a good thing about these types of goals, is that you never reach a limit. You kind of never reach this goal. You never actually come to a point where you say, I reached my goal, because there's always more people that you can impact and they can influence. It'd be like, okay, I've already impacted, I don't know, 10,000 people. Okay, so that's not the end. You can impact another 10,000 people, and so the journey continues. So I think that's what people need to find for themselves. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, this is great stuff. We could talk about that, I think, forever. But let's just for a second come back to actually calisthenics. I think this is super valuable for people to hear. I'm glad that we talked about it. And I think this is not getting talked about often enough. And so I think this was a very, very valuable point that we touched on right now. But let's just come back to a few points about calisthenics and maybe some tips and hacks we could give to people. I have a question about different training principles, right? Because we all know this reps and sets bodybuilder style training. We all know cycle training, where you do an exercise and you do a cycle and so on and so forth. Now, there's so many other different training methods we could use, like EMOM, every minute on the minute. You could do MRAP, like, and as many rounds as possible. You could do, like, I don't know, what is there? You could do giant endurance sets, all different kinds of things. So my question would be, is there one particular training principle which you find most effective, or would you say that you definitely should rotate, and then how?
You should
because
rotate.
People would say, okay, how should I do this 1 month, then 2 months, then 1 week or 2 weeks, or how should I construct actually my training so that it's most effective? Of course, I know it depends on the goal, so maybe you could touch on that.
Oh, there's
It's a lot to
no,
unpack, right?
yeah. There's no one exercise to go to cover everything, of course. Right. No, not a single training method in principle that you can go to in order to achieve everything, of course. And you should rotate. However, it's worth mentioning that there are people who succeed just by doing tons of EMOMs, just EMOMs. There are people who succeed by doing just regular progressive overload. This week I'm doing 10 sets of 10. Next week I'm doing 10 sets of 11 and so on, right? Which is kind of boring, but it's worth mentioning that we cannot say here that we should rotate or shouldn't rotate, because it all depends. If you are looking for if you just like one training style, you can just go for it and do it for the rest of your life. If it works for you, bro.
Yeah.
If it works for you. But rotation within those methods, this is my way. This is my way of training. I put everything in 1 week. My students would confirm this. Like Monday, you have EMOM. Tuesday you have like isometrics with some reps. Wednesday you get some pyramids and ladders. Thursday you get some grease the groove and sets without leaving the bar. Then Friday you get some timed routines to complete a certain amount of reps under the limited period of time, and so on. You get like so many things to do in strength and endurance training, in mobility training. We have so many variations of doing this because it has evolved so much during all these years. Because 10 years ago, of course there was no rotation for me. I was just doing 5 sets of max pull-ups. This is it.
Yeah.
I was just doing stuff. But now, since it has become more systematic, we can actually use stuff to do, right? And it would be, I don't know, I'm not sure if I can say this, but damn, I'm going to say it. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid to stick to one particular training. It's just you're just wasting your time. Come on. Your body can learn so much more with different training styles. Yeah. You can work on so many weak points of your body with so many exercises, training methods, and so on. Right? Especially with the strength training, we have so many approaches.
Yeah.
It's not just pull up and dip.
And 3 sets of 10.
Yeah, right. There are so many things to do. And, I cannot name it because it would take hours and
Yeah, there's so much.
days to
There's so
explain
much.
everything. A lot of people come to me and they ask, what is the best way to increase reps? Bro, I cannot really answer this.
Yeah.
Like, really, I wish I could. I wish I could, because it depends on your current level, of course. It depends on your recovery capacity. It depends on your weight, height, the length of your arms, legs, how much your legs weight, how
Yeah,
much
yeah,
you
right.
work on your core before this question, and so on. How your diet is, how long you sleep, what activities during the day you have
Also
besides working
genetics,
out,
like huge factor.
Right,
I
right.
just quick fun fact. I've one friend or a guy, not really a friend, but I was working out with him recently, and he didn't really do calisthenics at all. And he was a swimmer, you know, he was like swimming a lot and doing especially this butterfly type of swimming. So he was kind of engaging his lats a lot. And we did a pull-up pyramid, and I'm doing calisthenics for what 5 years or something, and he didn't do any calisthenics before that at all, and we came to the same rep number in the pyramid. So we both
You
came
see,
to 20 reps with the pull-ups, and then I beat him in the next 20. I got 21 reps and he got like 13 or something, because he was exhausted after that. But still, we both got 20 reps, and I wasn't really better than him in pull-ups, even though he never trained it. So I think genetics and what maybe but he was better at push-ups than him. It's not like he was good at everything. He could do pull-ups really well, and it was kind of his talent. And I think that's also a factor which is to consider, right?
true. You gotta realize what's your talent.
Kind of, yeah.
And strength training, because some people, they jump high, some people do muscle ups like, super smooth, because their body is built the way it just looks awesome. Because a lot of people are able to do clean muscle ups or clean one arm pull up, but for some people, some people, due to their body composure, they really make some moves like it's an art.
Yeah, right. No, what I mean.
The way their body looks, their body built, and so on, it just looks awesome. And yeah, this is why not everyone is a successful footballer or basketball player or a tennis player or a swimmer. We just gotta test things to find out what works the best for us. And this is why the training approach gotta be compound. This is why I mentioned that our body is able to learn so much more with this compound approach, where you have everything to test and see how your body reacts to this type of training or that type of training. And by doing just something that worked for someone, because a lot of people, of course, they come to me and ask what training method is the best. And I'm saying there is no best method. But some people, they ask this question, they will answer, do EMOM or do ladder, just because it worked for them. Yeah. But you gotta test it, bro. You gotta, fam, you gotta really test it. You gotta test everything and see how much pump you get from this, from that, right?
And I think it's also way more. It's way more fun, and just it was like, for me, I was doing lots of reps and sets in the beginning. I was getting some progress, but at one point I was like, yeah, this is cool, but this training style is sort of boring, as you said. Yeah. And then I switched things up, and I do more random training right now. I still have a pretty high intensity, so I do sets to failure and stuff. So I fatigue my muscles enough. It's not like random training. I just play around and go home and don't progress at all. But it's still like switching things up. And I think it not just brings in variety, as you just explained, but it makes the training way more enjoyable. I think that's such a
Yeah.
crucial factor in working out, is that you need to
Right.
enjoy the process, right?
Yeah. As soon as you start to enjoy the process, this is where the progress happens.
Yeah.
Of course, there are going to be days, even weeks, and even months.
Yeah.
For some people, there are even years of this when, and I call it the depression, the training depression, when you hit the plateau and you try so many things and it just don't work out. You know, I've been there, and this is why I said years, because I was stuck
Oh, wow.
at one point, and like for 1 year I wasn't really progressing at all, even though I was still trying a lot of methods, and you know, I was training hard. The intensity was on point, and
Yeah.
and I wasn't a beginner at the point. It was like 2015, so it was like almost 6 years in the game, I guess. And yeah, 6 years in the game, and I was already on some level, right? I won some competitions already, and I knew stuff, not as much as I know now, but I knew it. And I still managed to hit the point where I just didn't know what to do. And this is something we need to be aware of, and this is something we need to cope with.
Yeah.
Surely, because it's not going to be bright. This is the another quote that we see all over the place. You know, there is no bright days every day. If it was so easy, you know, to get up every day and do stuff with
Then
a
everybody
smile
would
on
do
your
this.
yeah, with a smile on your face, everybody would do this, like you said. And not it ain't for everybody. I keep saying it. It's not for everybody.
Sure.
Right? And those bad days, they count twice, actually. When you don't feel like training, when you don't feel like getting out of your house and going to the gym or to the street workout park, and those is what I said. Those days count twice, because it works your body and it works your mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and I think
But
this is so
yeah,
important for people to hear, because I think everyone on the calisthenics, I don't know anyone who didn't have certain days or weeks or even longer periods where there was sort of a plateau where they didn't really progress any further. And I think the most important thing in this moment is really to just keep going, stay consistent. Don't really, it's oftentimes it's not really worth questioning so much, why is this happening, because you could make yourself crazy with these questions. Why am I not progressing? Why is everyone around me getting better, but I'm not getting better at muscle ups or whatever? That's not the right question, I think, because it kind of thousands of different reasons. You're never going to figure this out. But
yeah,
staying consistent, I think that's the secret, what everyone is talking about. Because, and it's not an easy secret. You just gotta keep going, and then you will come to a point, as you said, this will make you twice as strong, because you still work your body and you get stronger mentally, which is super powerful. So
right.
I think people need to understand that it's difficult to hear. There's no shortcut. Stay consistent and keep going, right?
Right.
Yeah. Maybe let's talk real quick about you. There's so much I actually would have liked to talk about. I think there's definitely room for another episode later. And I'm gonna announce already right now that this episode we did in English. I think someone later we're gonna do another one, and this is probably gonna be in Russian, because we both can speak in Russian. Maybe there's some people who would like to hear you talk about things because they don't understand English as well as they do Russian, and so I think this is gonna be valuable.
Yeah,
And
I think a lot of, I mean, I think nobody does podcasts with calisthenics athletes in Russian.
not really, right?
Like, I don't even know anyone. But
in general,
yeah,
there's not many calisthenics podcasts in general, and in Russian there's like nobody is doing that. So I think this will be cool for some people.
right.
But yeah. So in general, you've touched on your favorite exercise at the beginning, which is push-ups. But I think you, as you said, you're famous for your muscle ups, and I think you love doing muscle ups. So maybe for people, everyone wants to learn a muscle up. Just give your kind of best advices. I think that I know that's not one way to learn it, but the range of things which you should consider doing in order to maybe get your muscle up for someone who is training for it, somewhat can do a few pull-ups, but who is not quite there.
All right. A set of things you need to be able to do before starting the muscle up course, let's say. Bro, it's so different, but let me give you the average numbers, right? Because there is a funny story. I never told it.
Okay, let's go.
I did my first ever muscle up. I did it when I was able to complete only 3 pull-ups.
Ooh, crap.
And it was
cool.
so random, and a lot of people can catch up with me on this one. Sometimes there is a day and you just try a thing, and you just do it. But then the next day, the week after, a month after, you are just not able to do this.
Yeah.
It happened to me so many times with planche, with one-arm pull-up, and the muscle up. The muscle up is the craziest one because I was able to perform only 3 pull-ups at a time. And then grab the bar because someone before me jumped on the bar and he did the muscle up. And I was like, I was so focused on the movement, and I knew I cannot really explain this.
Yeah, this
bro, it's so hard. Like I was so focused on the way, on like how he did it.
Yeah.
And I just knew the body language, and I knew the body language, the way, the pattern. Visually, I could catch the technique.
Yeah.
And I just tried and I did. But my body wasn't ready.
Yeah.
At all. This is why I wasn't able to repeat it the next day.
Yeah.
And this is why it took me 6 months to come back to this condition. So, yeah, what I mean with this is that it's really hard to say stuff like the average number of pull-ups, dips, and stuff.
No, I meant more like which things you should do when you want to. The exercises, the training techniques, maybe some tricks and skills you could practice in order to achieve your muscle up. So what should people do? I know I don't like this. I also don't like doing that. You need to do 10 pull-ups. I knew a guy myself who I think his max pull-ups was 15, but he could do 10 muscle ups, which is ridiculous.
Crazy.
Like I can do maybe 10 or more, like 11, but my max pull-up is way over 30. So it's absolutely so different for everyone, and it's impossible to say. So, but when it comes to actually achieving the muscle up, what you should do?
It definitely has to be the core work. Of course, the core is like, if you want to do more pull-ups, work on your core. If you want to do more dips, work on your core. You want to do planche, work on your core. You want to do muscle up, work on your core. Grip strength is so crucial. Is like very important. It's critical, 100% critical. Like,
yeah,
grip. As soon as you're able to grab the bar like this, it makes the muscle up so much easier.
Definitely.
Because if you grab the bar like this, but as soon as you start to pull up, your hand slips down, you don't have enough grip strength. High pull up, of course. High pull up, and make sure to do the right technique. Right, the right technique is on my YouTube.
I'll link this down below so everyone can check this out. Your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
There's lots of stuff to check out. It's really good.
Yeah. A lot of people be slipping on my YouTube. There is so much information there already. People be asking how to do really slow muscle up, and so yeah. So, coming back to the topic, you should be able to do a certain amount of pull-ups and dips and push-ups, of course, because you need this strength just in order not to achieve the muscle up, but not to get injured.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you can do the muscle up with the proper swing, with the proper technique, even if you are able to do, you know, one pull-up, because you just catch this motion, right?
And you can
And
hurt yourself. I think that's very important. And I think in
yeah,
general you can say the more pull-ups, dips, and push-ups you can do, the better in general. Period. Like,
yeah,
why saying that you can potentially achieve a muscle up with 10 pull-ups? Why should you actually think about this? Just try to do more pull-ups, and then you're gonna be better off anyways. Just train and do more
right,
pull-ups and more dips and more push-ups, and you're gonna have a better baseline, and the risk of getting injured
right,
is lower.
right. And then the low bar dip is the exercise that people be slipping on, because everybody be talking about high pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, and just bar dips. But the low bar dip with the elbow drop is something that really, really helps you to control your transition. And
Yes.
you're really taking over the rotation movement, right? So low bar dip, you can actually see it, of course. Check it on my YouTube with the slow muscle up tutorial, right? But low bar dip with the elbow drop is actually going down like this, and then boom, boom. And it, of course, it's different for everyone. We cannot really say whether it should go like this or like that, because everybody's different, and the technique is the most important part here. And we're just gonna focus on doing things properly, because also people be asking, how low should I go here, or how high should I go with a pull-up?
As high as you can go, right?
Yeah, you
Depends
can,
on your level.
yeah, as long as you do it properly, you're good. The height and the depth of those exercises will just come. Make sure to be able to complete it properly and technically. So I would say also L-sit raisers, holds, and toes to the bar raisers are really important here. And
so core, as you said, I think that's a good one.
Core, grip, pulling strength, pushing strength. Any exercises would help, but those specific ones that actually define the muscle up are really important, such as high pull-up, low bar dip, pull-up, and so on. And banded muscle ups, of course. It helps a lot.
For the technique, maybe, especially. Like, this is the
you
way
gotta feel it.
I cleaned up my muscle up was with bands mostly, where I was able to do keeping muscle ups, but with the band I was doing them cleaner, and then I reduced the band thickness with time, and eventually you get rid of the band altogether, right? But high pull-ups, I want to drive this one home, because I give this advice to anyone who asks me, but I almost don't practice them at all, and I don't know why. I should do them more often, definitely. That's such a great move, and I think they're just, it's just a bit more boring, because I feel like you could not really implement them as well as other exercises into these. I like to do these endurance sets, and it's a bit difficult to mix this up with high pull-ups. So
that's true.
You know what I mean?
This is why I do for my students, because humbly saying, I don't need those exercises anymore. I do this for my students. They have the whole muscle up day. And they have, like, I usually use the EMOM with the muscle up exercises, because with EMOM, you get to, all right, you did, for example, you do 5 sets of EMOM, right? EMOM is every minute on the minute. And you do the first low bar dip, kind of, shaky and stuff. Then the second one, you realize that you gotta keep it more tight in order to, keep yourself stable. But you are not so deep yet and the movement. For the third set, on the third minute, you understand that you can go lower, right? And you try to go lower, but you fail and you drop. On the fourth, you will finally find the the proper depth, the technique, and you will just do it. And the fifth one will be just excellent. You know what I mean? With EMOM, your body remembers, the short-term muscle memory. We have this.
Yeah.
Your body still remembers which pattern it used just a few seconds ago, and you can go for the next set by trying to do it differently, right? And this is how we improve. With longer rests, I also apply it, of course, but I mix it, EMOMs and longer rests in between those exercises to perform them, in terms of strength, better, because the longer you rest, the more chances you have to come back to the regular muscle stance.
Yeah.
Like you had right after your warm-up, right? Because in EMOM is kind of tiring.
Yeah.
So it's really important to
they
balance.
know what we're talking about. EMOM is, if you do it right,
so,
it can be really tough.
Right, and with those EMOMs, let's drop the free routine right here. Okay, a lot of people will be asking for free stuff, so let's go. An example of muscle up training. Let's say 3 alternating EMOM. No, not alternating. 3 routines, but each routine would consist of 3 EMOMs.
Okay.
Of 5 minutes. So 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah. So first routine, we start with the muscle up, of course, because we start off with the hardest thing to do when it comes to technical stuff, planches, with the hardest progression of the element of the skill, all right? So you do it in the best possible progression for you, whether it's jumping muscle up, regular muscle up, clean, kipping, bended, whatever. Yeah, weighted, of course. Then the second EMOM in the first routine would be high pull-up. And the third EMOM would be toes to the bar raisers. So we have the movement, we have the accessory exercise, and we have the core. Second routine, we would have the easier progression of the muscle up. Let's say we did the muscle up with the stronger, with the lighter band. Now let's use the thicker one, the stronger band. Then the second EMOM in the second routine would be the low bar dip. And the third EMOM in the second routine would be L-sit raisers. The third routine would be the muscle up, the easier progression.
Again, another progression easier, right?
So we're regressing all over. Exactly. It's like a drop set day.
Kind of,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, kind of. Then you have the regression of the muscle up. Then you have we can have different things here because it's either you have stronger pull or push, and you need to
work on your weak
everyone
points, right?
knows it.
So then you decide which exercise you're gonna do depending on what weak point you want to strengthen, right?
Yeah. And if, of course, let's say if we have weaker high pull up, we would work on the timing. Let's say, just for example, and we would just do the initial phase of the high pull up, because timing in the muscle up is very important. If you do your high pull up or muscle up with the wrong timing, you will never be able to complete those muscle ups easy, because you will be off balance all the time. Or if you just have problems with rotating, with getting your elbows over the bar, or if you are weaker on pushing, you can just do the isometric hold over here in your low bar dip, right? And then the third EMOM would be just another core exercise, or you can do everything here, like from jumping muscle ups to negative muscle ups to, bended muscle ups again, a lot of stuff here, or weighted pull-ups, whatever. Like,
what do you have strength left for? No?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. If people were listening carefully, and I think we'll not repeat this once again, but this is a good way of training the muscles, I think. Now let's slowly wrap up here and come to my final few questions for you. We'll definitely talk about, I've maybe covered half of the things I wanted to talk about with you, but I'll just have to go soon, so that's why we slowly need to wrap up here. But we definitely make sure to do another part kind of soon and talk about
let's
other
just
things.
do the second part next time.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll just make sure to ask you then later. But okay, I have two more questions for you. The first question is going to be a section which I include at the end of my podcast, which is called Devil's Advocate, which kind of means I take the opposite stance of someone who is kind of in disagreement with you, and I try to defend the opposite position. And so I think it's not really an opposite position, but it's maybe something which people would ask you or which they would criticize you about. Okay. So people would say, okay, you cannot build muscle with endurance. How did you build so much muscle mass? It's all genetics. It's impossible to do with endurance. Is there actually a way to build muscle with endurance? What would you say to those people who ask you if this is actually possible, or if it's just only genetics and they can forget about, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry. Well, first of all, when people say stuff with endurance, you cannot build muscles, they actually right. Because this is the problem in terminology. Yeah. We cannot, what I do is not endurance. Is the strength and endurance, or strength endurance. Yeah. Right? Endurance itself is
jogging, running, and doing jumping jacks.
Yeah, right. To be able to sustain the long period of cardio work, let's put it this way, right? But muscles contraction, what does it say to people? Muscle contract, and then it stretches. Yeah. Like, guys, hypertrophy happens when you contract your muscles.
Right.
And of course, the best way would be low rep, heavy weighted stuff, long rest. Simple. But what if we work with our own body weight and higher rep range, right? The same thing happens. Of course, slower because the load is lighter. But the same thing happens. You get to work on the same tension, under the same tension on those, let's say, 20 reps. Mm-hmm. Because those last reps are going to take the same amount of pressure, tension, load, whatever,
intensity,
struggle,
I think it's the right word,
intensity for those last reps, as if you did it with 50 kilograms for the pull-up for like 4 reps only.
Yeah.
And this is what happens.
Yeah.
Of course, the way of how your muscles look, it differentiates from doing low rep and high rep. So the people who are looking for defined body, they should do both.
Right.
Right? Because if we take a look at powerlifters, CrossFitters, calisthenics guys, and gymnasts, we'll see four different bodies.
Yeah.
The way their biceps look, and the whole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends on what activity you do and how this and that intensity and volume work. And of course, by the way, recent researches showed that hypertrophy happens from the volume. It doesn't matter whether you do, let's say
the rep range. Maybe the rep range doesn't really matter as long as you have the intensity and the right volume.
Right. You put it right way.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Studies and research showed this right now. People have been thinking all the time that you need to have this 8 to 15 hypertrophy rep range, but this seems to not really matter that much if you met a certain, like this, enough volume to stimulate your muscles, and you have enough intensity to stimulate your muscles. That's the most important thing.
Exactly. The stimulation and the muscle mind connection. Because if you will just keep doing, pull-ups without understanding what muscles you are working on, you will strengthen basically nothing. And you need to understand what muscles you need to contract and lengthen, right? So, like you said, volume is important to put the right tension and the right load to stimulate your muscles, right? And it doesn't matter. It's a matter of preference. It doesn't matter whether you do your 5 rep max for 5 sets or if you do just max reps body weight for 5 sets.
Yeah.
Like, it's still going to get you the pump, the muscle soreness.
Exactly.
And what we need to really think about it, my bad. What we really think about is our diet. We really think about it. We
have been talking about this, but this is kind of crucial. Yeah, it's a whole nother topic, I think.
Yeah, if you work, I don't care if you work for like 1 rep max, 2 rep max body weight, or whatever way you working with, if you don't consume enough protein, you will never build your muscles.
You need you need the stimulus, you need the signaling to your muscles that they have to grow, but then of course you need that, but then you kind of need also the stuff to grow your muscles off. So the signaling, the stimulation is the one thing. If you just eat a ton of protein, nothing is going to happen. Nothing. You're maybe going to preserve your muscle, but you're not going to build anything. So you need the stimulation, you need the intensity, the training. Super important. Without that, you'll not have any muscle growth. But with a protein, you also not have any muscle growth.
And the rest and the recovery. Because if we keep loading, if we keep loading our muscles, we will just reach the point of first overusing the muscles and then overtraining.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's again a whole nother topic. I wanted to talk about this, but let's keep this for another conversation. There's diet, there's resting, there's deloading, there's skill training, there is how to increase reps. There's so many things I would like to talk about. But for now, I would like to finish with my last question for you, which I ask everyone at the end of the podcast, which is going to be, which you kind of alluded to at the beginning of our conversation or in the middle of our conversation. The question basically is, what keeps you going in a hard situation? So imagine you're in front of a very difficult task. You don't know how to move forward. You're about to give up. So you basically want to give up. But then what are you going back to? What are you remembering so that you eventually keep going and do not give up? Is there something which you're constantly coming back to and remind yourself of in certain difficult times, which keeps you going then?
Well, there are a few things I would like to mention.
Yeah.
The first one, of course, is what I said previously. It's the feeling of regret. I just remember what happened. And I know what's gonna happen if I give up. I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have two things inside me. That's what she said. I had to.
People who are younger than 18, please, yeah, skip this part.
My bad. I couldn't resist.
It's okay.
I,
It was
I,
funny. Yeah.
so yeah, if I give up on calisthenics, let's say, or whatever I'm doing now, right? I will just have two things to regret about it, for the rest of my life. And I know how
Right.
it feels. I don't want to come back to this. The second thing, I ask myself, what would average person do? And the average person would just give up. And I don't want to come back to the average. I don't want this.
Yeah, I
I
feel you.
I consider myself above average. And I think
You can do this. I think we all agree that you can consider yourself to be at an above average level. I think we can all agree with that on
thank
that.
you. And I just don't want to come back to be average. I've been there. I wasn't born, above average, or let's say, I don't know how to call it, but anyways, I've been there. I felt it, and I don't want it. And the third thing is the responsibility, of course.
Yeah.
The responsibility in front of so many people, bro. I'm not a pop star, or I'm not the super famous athlete, but I have my people.
Yeah,
I have
sure.
my people around the world. And I feel this responsibility because once people start saying that you help them, that you change their perspective of life, or how they do in life, basically when you change someone's life, you just you kind of get this burden, and you bring it on your back. you
Sure.
just you just gotta keep going because someone's life depends on you. It might be not the best comparison, but parents and kids,
Mm.
right? Parents know that kid relies on them, and
Yeah,
the parent will never ever in their life, parents, they will never give up on doing something to help their kid.
that's right.
It's not quite the same, but I'm trying to explain what I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I have this responsibility in front of people. Gladly, I'm not responsible for everything in their life, but just trying to affect them through training,
I
right?
mean,
Because I'm
I
glad
think
I'm not.
this comes back to what we've been talking about in terms of your sort of bigger goal, mission, etc. I think this is related to this, that you kind of have this thing that you're working on, and you have this kind of responsibility, and you don't want to let go of that. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, man,
yeah,
it
man.
this was insane. I think this was awesome. I think this was great for people to hear. There was so many extremely valuable insights, and I hope this is going to be helpful for everyone who's listening. And there was a lot of mental stuff, but also a few
Too
tips.
much.
And yeah, but I think
A lot.
this is interesting. Maybe not interesting for everyone, but we cannot, we cannot make it so that everyone is going to be happy. I think
Yeah.
we did our best
There's
to
gonna be the part two, I believe. So
definitely, yeah,
yeah,
there's going to be a part two.
we'll focus on training stuff more.
Maybe more
So
on training and on stuff around it. So recovery, nutrition, what you should consider, and bit. I think the mental stuff is super important. I'm glad we touched on this, but yeah. So I'm really thanking you for coming on, and see you soon, bro.
yeah, man. Thank you guys for listening to finishing this podcast.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting me. It means really a lot. I hope, just like you said, I hope the listeners will appreciate it and get something valuable and important for them. And yeah, looking for more.
Where can people find you? You mentioned your Instagram, you mentioned your YouTube channel. Is there some other platforms or websites or something where people can go to?
Yeah,
and find out
my
more
website, ruslansaibov.com. Just
Right.
put Ruslan Saibov in Google and you will just find me. Yeah,
Great.
I do coaching. You can, purchase it and stuff like this. I
Yeah.
don't like advertising myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do stuff.
But still,
you can
yeah.
buy.
I still make sure to link this all in the description. People can go and find and learn about.
So
the stuff you're doing.
YouTube, TikTok. I'm trying TikTok, but yeah, not kind of my stuff. But
Yeah,
Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah. I wish you.
Let's do this.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you again so much, and talk to you soon.
All right, man.